I love SpongeBob. I own whatever you can think of in relation to SpongeBob. I own this, for crying out loud. I dressed up as him for Halloween. Okay, I'm about this shit. Okay, I am a Bob. Or what are SpongeBob fans called? Bobber? SpongeBob? SpongeBob head? Square pan? We can workshop it. Point is, I love SpongeBob, and I make this very known to anybody that's within like a 5 feet radius of me. If you were to cash me out on any given day, I'm most likely talking about something relating to SpongeBob, or at the very least making a reference to it that my friends don't understand because they're all lame and they didn't watch SpongeBob growing up because their parents didn't allow them to. By the way, if somebody's talking to you about SpongeBob and you open up with that, we think you're lame, by the way. Like, we don't want to hear, oh, my parents didn't allow me to watch SpongeBob. We don't care. Okay? Anyways, moving on. So I love SpongeBob, right? And I love SpongeBob so much that out of the top 4 on my letterbox, 3 of those slots are taken up by the SpongeBob movie from 2004. And the other slot's taken up by I Saw the TV Glow, which should tell you a lot about who I am. But that's besides the point. I have seen the SpongeBob movie so many times that I was thinking to myself the other night, I could probably recite the whole thing from memory with no flaws. Kind of a stupid thought to have, but I wanted to put it to the test because I don't know, I thought it'd be funny. So here we are. I am sitting in my room, afternoon, on a random it's Wednesday? It is Wednesday. Cool. I'm sitting in my room, 2 p.m. on a random Wednesday, wearing a SpongeBob hat and talking straight into my webcam and telling you that I am going to be attempting what no man, woman, or non-binary has ever done before. I am going to recite the entire SpongeBob movie plot from memory. This includes all the plot points. This includes all the character names. This includes this and that and whatever else you can think of. I'm reciting it to the best of my ability. The problem is that I haven't seen this movie in like a year, so we'll see how this goes. Also, hi, this is my first official video on this channel. Hi, my name's Maddie. I like to upload YouTube videos. I have a gaming channel that you can subscribe to. I don't know, I haven't been motivated to post on it lately though, but I want to try this because I kind of want to like, put myself out there, make my content more personality focused. So totally just cause an earthquake on my table. So yeah. Hopefully you enjoyed this. So the movie opens up with this like cool ass like Nickelodeon introduction sequence where it's like a bunch of like Y2K bubbles floating around and it's like Nick movies. And it's like really cool and like glossy. I remember it very vividly, but I know it happens before the SpongeBob movie. And then we go into a live action sequence, which is really weird for SpongeBob, but whatever. It's a bunch of pirates on a ship. It's a bunch of pirates on a ship and they're sailing the 7 seas, they're singing their shanties, they're happy-go-lucky, they're like, you know how pirates are. But these pirates in particular, they're looking for loot. They are looking for something. They're looking for treasure. Treasure, that's what they call it. That's what pirates are about. They're looking for a forbidden treasure that will grant them like something beautiful or something. I don't know. I remember this part very vividly. You're gonna hear me say that a lot throughout this video, by the way. I don't know why I did this. I don't remember this movie very well. But anyways, all of a sudden, they hear a call or somebody points out something or whatever. Basically, there's a dude out in the distance and he's rowing and he's tired. He's like on the brink of collapse. He's like, I got it. I got it. And he's like rowing a boat towards the ship and everybody's like freaking out. They're like, oh my God, he's back. Oh my God, he's back. And he has like a treasure chest on the boat. So eventually they pull him on board. He's exhausted. He is absolutely wrecked. I don't know what he went through to get through this treasure, but God, it must have scarred him for life. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, they open the treasure box and the captain of the ship is like, it can't be. I can't do a pirate voice. Yar har. Hold on. I need to lock into my pirate voice for a second. Yar har. I can't do a pirate voice. I'm sorry. Oh my God. You found the treasure. What we've been looking for 100 years or something like that. I don't know. And then he takes the treasure and he pulls it up and he's like, tickets to the SpongeBob movie. And then everybody like cheers and whatever. And then like they start singing the SpongeBob theme song, but in like a sea shanty format. It's really cute. It's really, really nice. Um, and then like they start singing the song, and they're like, "Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?" And it's fun. I'm not gonna sing the whole song because I'm not a very good vocalist, but take my word for it. And then and then eventually they arrive to a movie theater. They all like it's like 50 of these guys. By the way, they're like 50 of these like dirty like just fresh off the boat pirates that are like rushing into this random ass movie theater in like Burbank, California or something. And like they get their tickets, they're super excited, they get their popcorn, they're like making a mess. They take up like all the front row seats, and then the movie officially starts. So this is where like the actual like animated part starts, and this is where shit gets sticky, okay? Not actually. It starts off pretty. No, it doesn't actually. I forgot about this part. So the movie actually opens up in like this like action sequence. It's animated at this point. It's not live action anymore. It opens up in this like action sequence where no, it's Mr. Krabs in front of the Krusty Krab, and he's like panicking, he's like shaking. There's like a crowd of people around him. Everybody's like causing a commotion. Everybody's like, "Oh my god, what's going on?" Mr. Krabs is freaked out of his fucking mind, and he's like he's talking to a news reporter, and he's like, yeah, I don't know what happened. Is it and it's just I forgot what exactly he said. Again, haven't seen this movie in a year. But eventually our hero in shining suit and tie comes in to save the day. I think he pulls up in like a limousine or something like that. It's SpongeBob. It's SpongeBob. And he has this like tough guy persona. He's like, "What's up, Mr. Krabs? What's up, Mr. Krabs?" And he goes up to Mr. Krabs and he's like, "What's up, Mr. Krabs?" And Mr. Krabs is like, "You gotta have me. There's something, blah, 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 blah." And then like SpongeBob slaps him and he's like, "Talk to me, Eugene. What's going on?" Eugene is Mr. Krabs's official name. Official name? Why the fuck did I say? It's his first name. It's Eugene Krabs. This doesn't matter. So SpongeBob eventually like he still has this like hard guy persona on. He like walks into the Krusty Krab. He like busts down the door. He like kicks it open. And here stands, well, sits. He's sitting. Here sits this random like fish dude. And he is panicking. He is like so upset. And then SpongeBob eventually is like, "What's the issue?" And then he's like, something about his Krabby Patty not having cheese on it or something. And he's like, "My Krabby Patty, it doesn't have cheese." And he's like really, really scared. And he's like, and SpongeBob's like putting on gloves and he's like, "Talk to me. What's your name?" And he's like, "Phil." He's like, "All right, Phil. Yeah, family Phil." And he's like, it's like a super like official like like it's a super like hard like badass like I'm trying to find like a proper like comparison to it, but I can't think of one at this point. But it's like super hard badass. It's like, "You have a family, Phil," and he's like, "Yeah, I have a wife and two beautiful children, blah 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 blah," and it's like a whole thing. But he's like on the verge of collapse. Then SpongeBob opens up like a briefcase that he has on him. He either has it on him or got it out somewhere in the Krusty Krab. I can't remember, but it has a slice of cheese in it, slice of good old American cheese. And he takes like pinchers and he like has to like he's almost like a surgeon. He has to like take the cheese and like open the dude's patty and take the cheese and like put it on the patty, but it's like framed super dramatically. So it's like he puts it on. There's like action movie music in the background. There's like it is like super dramatic. It cuts between like shots of SpongeBob and Phil and the cheese, and it's like super everything's fine in the end. And then it cuts to an outside shot, everybody's worried, and then the door opens, and then SpongeBob is carrying Phil in his big burly arms. Phil's happy, he's holding his sandwich, he's happy as could be, he's all better. And then everybody cheers, and they start cheering for SpongeBob, and they're like, "Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray!" And then eventually the hip hip hoorays start to sound more like hip hip brrr, hip hip brrr, because it's a dream. It's a dream. This wasn't real. And the brrr is SpongeBob's big like tuba-esque alarm that he has in his room. So then SpongeBob wakes up and he's like, "Gary, guess what day it is?" And then it's like, I want to remember the specific date it's on. I want to say sometime in like it's March 15th or something, or like March 13th. I can't remember the specific day, but it's like they mention a specific date and it's like, it's the opening of the Krusty Krab 2 and they're gonna announce their new manager and it's gonna be me. Hello, editing Maddie here. I just wanted to clarify this specific point because I'm so fucking mad at myself. I said March 13th and 15th, and it was the 14th of March that they were talking about. Oh my God, I was one day off in 2 separate ways. I am actually so pissed at myself, and I'm such a fake fan. I'm such a fake fan. I can never come back from this. I can never recover. Anyways, here's more of me yapping about this movie. Bye. And he's like super hyped about it, and he like goes through like this whole sequence of like getting up and like being super cheery and happy, and like he exits his house and he walks by Patrick, and Patrick's like, "Hello to the new manager of Krusty Krab 2." And he's like super encouraging because he's a good friend. Patrick's a homie. Okay, Patrick's a homie. So then SpongeBob eventually like walks to the Krusty Krab and the Krusty Krab 2. The Krusty Krab 2, by the way, is an exact replica of the Krusty Krab, just right next to it. It's like those cities where like there's like a Dunkin' Donuts everywhere. So like just Boston. I should have just said Boston. But like there could be a Boston like in one corner, and then like right down the road there's another Dunkin'. Did I say Duncan or did I say Bob? It doesn't fucking matter. They're right next to each other. So basically, SpongeBob, our protagonist, he walks to the Krusty Krab and he's like, there's like this big ceremony, and then Mr. Krabs for real this time is getting interviewed, and the interviewer is like, what inspired you to open another Krusty Krab location right next to the first one? And then Mr. Krabs delivers like his famous line, "Money." And this doesn't make sense to me. Like, doesn't opening another restaurant cost more money, and like hiring a manager, and like, this implies that Mr. Krabs pays his workers, and I don't think he does. So maybe not actually. Maybe this is like a complete like money-making tycoon machine for him or something. I don't know. I don't know how the economics in Bikini Bottom work. Yeah. I need water. I'm thirsty. I put like a flavor packet in my water bottle yesterday, and it still like kind of tastes like it. And it tastes like really like weird and gross, and I don't like it very much. I'm gonna deal with it because the flavor is just there now, but I'm not happy about it. Anyways, eventually, they get to this like ceremony. They have this ceremony where Mr. Krabs announces the new manager of the Krusty Krab 2, and it's like somebody that's like super like hardworking and like, you know, like a manager type, you know? It's supposed to be this big deal. This is what SpongeBob's been shooting for. If you haven't watched the show, somehow SpongeBob like lives and breathes the Krusty Krab, which is the fast food restaurant he works at. I should have mentioned all this beforehand. I'm really bad at this. He lives and breathes the Krusty Krab. He fucking loves this place. He loves Mr. Krabs. He's like a father to him. He loves his coworker Squidward, who hates him, but it's like fine. And also Squidward isn't even a squid. He's an octopus. So that's another point of contention. But anyways, it eventually gets to the ceremony, and Mr. Krabs is like, and it's time to announce the new I don't know why I'm making him like Irish. Should I just make him Irish? Now it's time to announce the new manager. No, this is more like German. This is not Irish. Whatever. I'm gonna do like a European accent for him because I can't do like the yar thing. I just, it's not in my wheelhouse. So it's like, yar, it's time to announce the new manager of the Krusty Krab 2, and everybody is like super excited. SpongeBob is in the front row. He's losing his goddamn mind. He is so sure it is gonna be him. He's like talking smack to Squidward, who's sitting right next to him. It's like a whole thing, and he's like super duper psyched over it. And then Mr. Krabs eventually announces the new manager. He's like, he's hard working. His name starts with an S. And of course, SpongeBob is like, it's me. And then he drops like a big curtain behind him to reveal a mural of the new Krusty Krab 2 manager, Squidward Tentacle. It's not SpongeBob. It's not SpongeBob. But SpongeBob is acting like he just said his name because he's like, yeah, fuck yeah, woo! he's like screaming in everybody's face. I'm pretty sure he like grabs Sandy and like shakes her. Sandy is like another one of his friends. She's a squirrel. I don't know why I said it like that, but he's like, fuck yeah, I'm the new manager. Woo! And so he like waltzes up to the stage and he like he starts his like acceptance speech, which I have to guess he's been practicing, because like why wouldn't he, right? So it's like, I'd like to thank my family, like to thank Patrick, like to thank Squid, blah 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 blah. And then Mr. Krabs is like, he's like petrified right next to him. He's like, SpongeBob, what are you doing? So eventually he like starts to whisper in SpongeBob's ear. He's like, it literally just like sounds like that. It's like he's like repeating what Mr. Krabs is saying back to him. He's like, I'm making a fool of myself, and everybody can hear exactly all the words that I'm saying because I'm speaking through a microphone. Blah 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 blah. And he basically makes it such a fool of himself. And Mr. Krabs, still in front of everybody, by the way, needs to explain to him that like, hey, listen, you're a hard worker. I love you, but like, you're a child. I don't know if he's actually a child, but Mr. Krabs certainly thinks of him that way. He's like, you're a kid, buddy. Like you are too immature to run like a big franchise restaurant like this. It basically just like tries to like let him down easy, but like tells him like he's just a kid. He can't do it. So obviously this pisses off SpongeBob. He's like, and then he like runs away crying. And then after after SpongeBob is gone, Patrick fucking comes in. He's like flying. He's butt ass naked. In between his butt cheeks is like a flag that says congratulations, SpongeBob. And he like flies onto the stage. And at this point, everybody I think has gone, or like they've like run away at least. And then it's like a funny little gag. But anyways, it cuts to SpongeBob like being really sad. I think it's at this point where it cuts to Weenie Hut Junior's, and he's at the bar. It's a metaphor for alcohol. He's drinking his problems away, but instead of drinking, he's eating ice cream, which I think is kind of cute. I think it's kind of cute because if I'm sad, I also eat ice cream. So like it's like quirky and fun and relatable, and like SpongeBob's just like me for real. But anyway, so SpongeBob's at the bar. Patrick eventually joins him. He's like, what's wrong, SpongeBob? And he's like, what the fuck do you think is wrong, Patrick? I just got denied my dream job in front of everybody, made a complete fool of myself, and also I got called a kid by the man that I look up to the most in this world. And Patrick's like, oh, okay. Can we get ice cream though? His fat ass wants ice cream. So SpongeBob's like, yeah, I want ice cream. So he orders like a banana triple split deluxe. I don't know. And then he gets it to him. The worker, the bar worker is like this, like he's like this 30-something-year-old man that's like not happy to be here at all. He's like not happy to be here at all. But he's like, one split coming up, and he like serves it to them. And then Patrick's like, can I get a toy with that? And then the dude throws it in his face. He's like, thanks. I don't know why I remember that part specifically, but they eat the ice cream. SpongeBob feels a ton better. It's like he just had a glass of beer, or like a vodka Coke or something. All of a sudden he's getting like lit, and then Patrick's like, what about another one? And then he's like, yeah, let's have another one. And then they just keep ordering them. They eat so much ice cream. And like between every like bowl of ice cream they have, they're like, oh, waiter, just terrorizing this poor dude. Meanwhile, the waiter is just like, fine, here you go, here you go, here you go. And they just scarf this shit up. And like it progressively, like it's like he's getting more drunk. It's like, oh, waiter at one point. Then eventually it gets to a point where like basically this like Weenie Hut Jr. Goofy Goober place. I don't know if it's actually Weenie Hut Jr.'s, but I know it's like some sort of like saloon, like Gooby Goober saloon for like children. And eventually like the Goofy Goober mascot, Goofy Goober is like a children's character, like think like Barney or something like that. He's like dancing and singing on stage in front of like a bunch of kids, and then Patrick and SpongeBob, like drunk as all hell, they like go up to him. He's like singing the song. He's like, this guy right here, this is my man. This guy right here, this is also my man. And then he like faints and shit. And then he wakes up on the floor. And then the waiter's like, hey, buddy, I want to go home. It's like 7 a.m. and SpongeBob's like, "Ooh," he's hungover. He's hungover. So he eventually like leaves, and I think the bartender mentioned something about a job or like work or something. He's like, SpongeBob, this sets him off. He's like, work. Wait, no. I'm misremembering. The bartender doesn't mention. SpongeBob's like, oh my god, I'm late for work, and then he remembers what happened the day before, and he's like, oh, work. He goes to the Krusty Krab and he's like he's like so hungover, still kind of drunk, honestly, and he like interrogates Mr. Krabs. He's like, "You said I'm just a kid. Well, I say," and he does that like really, really loud, like in front of Mr. Krabs. And then I think this is the point where fucking King Neptune pulls up. I promise this makes sense because the B plot of this whole thing that I forgot to mention up until now, ugh, big fan, sorry, is that King Neptune's crown was stolen. King Neptune is like a big like he's a king. He's a king. He looks like this. Anyways, he pulls up to the Krusty Krab and he thinks Mr. Krabs stole his crown because Plankton, the villain of the franchise, he's like a small little green dude. You've probably seen him from the one popcorn tall image. Somebody told me that you stole my crown and blah 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 blah. And this is all a plot to like get Mr. Krabs framed and killed. Plankton's whole thing is like he wants to steal the Krabby Patty cereal formula. The Krabby Patty is like the signature dish at the Krusty Krab, so like he wants to steal it. So his restaurant, the Chum Bucket, will be more successful than the Krusty Krab because his restaurant, the Chum Bucket, is booty butt ass cheeks. It's like the Long John Silver's of the aquatic world. No, Long John Silver's is seafood, isn't it? It's like the White Castle of Bikini Bottom. Mr. King Neptune is like, I have to wear this bag on my head because I don't have my crown. His daughter is also there. His daughter, Mindy, who's played by Scarlett Johansson, by the way. I didn't know this until last year. Yeah, ScarJo plays fucking Mindy, which is crazy, but whatever. Scarlett Johansson, I'm gonna call her Scarlett Johansson from now on. Scarlett Johansson's like, she is not a fan of this. She's like, Dad, you need to calm down. I'm sure it wasn't him. Blah 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 blah. King Neptune's not having it. King Neptune's like, no, he stole my crown, and then he like freezes Mr. Krabs, and then eventually there's like this whole bit where he has a bag on his head and he like takes the bag off and then it's like he has like a super shiny bald head and then everybody in the restaurant's like bald, 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 bald. It's like really funny. God, this is really wrecking my vocal cord. Who knew talking about a movie would be so hard? So anyways, after King Neptune's gets bald shamed, he like freezes Mr. Krabs and then like he wants to execute him on the spot, but then Scarlett Johansson convinces him, hey, give them like 5 days to go find the crown. And it's like, who's gonna go find the crown? And then SpongeBob and Patrick volunteer. They're like, we'll do it. Because I guess SpongeBob's kind of gotten over his whole like drunken charade. Because like, you know, he still loves Mr. Krabs. He doesn't want him to like die, you know, and he still cares about the Krusty Krab. So he's like, I wanna go get it. And then him and Patrick are like appointed by Scarlett Johansson to go get the king's crown within 5 days, or else Krabs is toast. Plankton actually further back into the movie refers to this day not as the Krusty Krab 2 opening, but the day Krabs fries, and Krab will fry if the crown is not returned to King Neptune within 5 days. So SpongeBob and Patrick are tasked with this like gargantuan task to go to Shell City, which is like this like mythical place, and go get the crown and return it, which is a big task, big thing. So eventually they go down to the Krusty Krab. They have a garage apparently, and they have like this paddy wagon, which is just like a Krusty Krab automobile. Patrick delivers like there's this genius like iconic line. He's like, I thought you didn't have a driver's license, because that's like a big thing in the series. SpongeBob doesn't get his driver's license because he sucks at driving. And then SpongeBob delivers the coldest line of all time. You don't need a license to drive a sandwich. And then they hop in and they speed off and it's awesome. Okay. 5-year-old me was gagged. I was like, these are the coolest fucking people ever. I love these guys. But anyways, so they go off on their journey, and then I'm definitely gonna get the order of events wrong from here out, but there's basically 2 separate plots. One plot is SpongeBob and Patrick going to find the crown. The other plot is basically Plankton taking over Bikini Bottom. So let's go to Plankton taking over Bikini Bottom because we haven't really focused on that yet. Plankton wants to take over Bikini Bottom and manipulate everybody into like becoming his empire because he's been in the shadows of Mr. Krabs long enough and he wants some attention, damn it. So, wow, that really shook my web mic. Oh my god. So Plankton wants to take over the world. Let's talk about it. So after Mr. Krabs is frozen to death, Plankton is able to steal the Krabby Patty secret formula and start serving food that people actually like at his restaurant, the Chum Bucket. And then like business is going swimmingly. Plankton is overrun with customers. He's like having a grand old time, doing great. And then Squidward, of all people, eventually like marches in. He's like, hey, dude, what the fuck is happening? I know you did all this. I know you framed Mr. Krabs for stealing King Neptune's crown. And Plankton's like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. Here, Squidward, take this free Chum Bucket hat to calm you down. I'm sure it's all you need. He's been giving out these hats to everybody. It's just like buckets. Buckets you like put on your head. They're mind control devices. And eventually he like activates them and he puts one on Squidward and everybody in the restaurant like gets buckets put on their head and then they start the almighty chant, all hail Plankton! All hail Plankton! It's like this like big thing. Like, all hail Plankton! So, like, everybody's, like, mind controlled. Like, Pearl is mind controlled. Squidward is mind controlled. Gary is mind controlled. Everybody's mind controlled. And they start to, like, build a statue of Plankton and, like, whatnot. Anyways, I'm going to go back to the A plot because I think I've already established that Plankton wants to take over the world. Back to the A plot. SpongeBob and Patrick, they're on like this journey. They eventually come across these like two hick guys for gas. SpongeBob asks them like, what do you guys have for gas? And then like, then the two dudes are like, oh, depends what you want, mustard or ketchup. And then they like start like laughing and rocking back and forth and like making fun of these guys. And like there's banjo music in the background. It's like, you know, and then like they're just like getting disrespected up and down SpongeBob and Patrick. So they eventually like drive away. But then eventually, they is the grandma chase or the Splatoon. There's one sequence where they like try to go get ice cream and like there's like a grandma that's actually like a monster and it like chases after them and like tries to kill them. And then there's like another sequence where they get their truck stolen by like a bunch of thugs. Yeah, I think it's in that order. Or maybe it was the Bone Stuffer. I don't know. Just know these three events happen. The mustard ketchup, the driving through a pile of bones to go get ice cream, and the woman selling ice cream is actually like a monster that tries to eat them and they escape her. They get their car jacked by a bunch of thugs, and it gets taken to like this salty Splatoon place or like Typhoon bar rundown place or whatever for like a bunch of hard, tough guys. So eventually they have to go get their patty back, and they go to this place and they see it in the front. They see the patty parked in the front and they're like, oh my god, our patty, we see our car. And they do like this cute little thing. It's like the, you know, I'll put a photo of it. But they eventually, they go to get the patty wagon, but there's no keys. They don't have the keys. So they have to assume one of the thugs indoors has the keys. They try to sneak in and steal the keys from the thugs because they want their sandwich back. They want their patty. They want their blah, 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 blah. So they go into this bar and it's like a bunch of like rough, tough dudes that are like beating each other up and they're like super masculine and strong and blah, 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 blah. But eventually SpongeBob and Patrick get distracted by the bathroom, which has a soap dispenser that produces bubbles. SpongeBob and Patrick, they love bubbles. So they start like doing the soap and stuff, and they start like dancing around like fun little kids playing with bubbles. They're like, ha ha ha, hee hee hee, you know, bubbles, 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 I love bubbles, blah, 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 blah. One of the bubbles eventually sneaks out into the bar area. Then one of the thugs notices the bubble and he's like, hey! And then everything freezes. All the activity in the bar freezes. And he's like, who's been blowing these bubbles? You know, obviously SpongeBob and Patrick don't want to like get caught up in this. So they just try to steal the keys and go. So they eventually have the keys and they're sneaking out, but they get noticed by the dude that made the bubble accusation. He's like, where do you think you're going? Blah, 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 blah. And then the dude has everybody in the bar line up And he's like, "What's the one rule of this institution?" And then everybody in unison's like, "All bubble blowing babies will be beaten to a pulp by every able-bodied person in attendance," or something like that. They mentioned the able-bodied part, which I think it's nice. I think it's nice and inclusive to disabled people. I like it. It makes me happy. This is really hurting my throat. This is real. I didn't think it would be this hard on my throat, but it is. I also think I have like allergies stuff, so that's like not that's not helping either, like but whatever. So anyways, to test who the bubble blowing baby is, the big bar guy puts on a song. It's the Goofy Goober theme song, which if you remember, SpongeBob and Patrick were like singing at the bar while they were drunk, and it's like they love this song, right? They love the Goofy Goober. And they start playing the song, and like he starts like making everybody like uncomfortable. The bar dude's walking around with the boombox, and he's like over here, he's like playing it in people's faces. SpongeBob and Patrick, they are tweaking. They're trying so hard not to burst out in song. They're like, I'll put a screenshot of their faces, but it's crazy. They are struggling. So eventually, somebody in the bar does slip up and sing the song. It's not SpongeBob or Patrick, but it's some random dude. He has like two heads, I think. And they try to like blame each other, blah, blah, blah. And then they get beaten to a fucking pulp by everybody else in the bar. And meanwhile, SpongeBob and Patrick, they're like, "Oh my God, I can't believe we just got away with that. Let's take the keys and go." And they eventually steal the keys and they sneak out and they just rush off with their car and everything's okay. And then they like, I think they lose their car eventually. I can't remember when it happens, but they somehow lose their car. It may have gotten eaten by like the monster. Oh, I'm really shaking this table. Oh my God. It may have gotten eaten by the monster. It may have like, gotten taken by the mustard or ketchup guys. There's also another villain that was hired by Plankton to stop SpongeBob and Patrick from this journey named Dennis. So he very well could have jacked the car as well. And he's looking for SpongeBob and Patrick. He eventually comes across the mustard or ketchup guys and they try making fun of him and he's like, "Fuck you guys, I want SpongeBob and Patrick." And he like beats them up or whatever. But just know SpongeBob and Patrick are being hunted while they are on this journey. But eventually they lose their car and they start walking. They're getting like super duper tired. They eventually see a sign for Shell City and it's like, "Shell City, 5 days away." And this is like, they're on like their second day of the journey. They're like, "We're not gonna fucking make it. We are not gonna make it, especially without a car." So they're like out on the verge of tears. They like want to give up. They are just not fucking having it. And eventually they come to like this big like abyss, like where the road to Shell City is on the other side of this abyss, but it's like it has like a bunch of monsters in it, and they're like looking down, and they're like, "We're never gonna make it. Like these monsters, they're gonna fucking eat us." It's at this point where Scarlett Johansson comes to the fucking rescue and swims up and gives SpongeBob and Patrick a big old confidence boosting speech, like hype speech, and she promises like, "We're gonna make you men and we're gonna make you strong enough to power through this and go through the abyss," which I think is really cute. But she doesn't actually like make them men. She just like puts seaweed on their faces and pretends it's a mustache. But it works for SpongeBob and Patrick. They're like overjoyed. They're like, "Oh my God, we're men now, yay!" And then like they venture down into the abyss, and they have this like whole song that's like, "Now that we're men, da 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 da, now that we're men, change my underwear." Yeah, something like that. I'm not gonna sing the whole song because I don't remember it. But also, all the monsters that they were previously afraid of are like so like behind them. They're like, "Yeah, yeah, they're men now. Yeah, they're gonna get through this. They're gonna get the crown to Shell City. Yeah, they're gonna save Mr. Krabs. Yeah," they're like hyping them up. They're helping them through the abyss, and it's like a big adorable sequence. And then eventually they get to the other side, and then SpongeBob, in an asshole move, he disses the monster. He's like, "We got past those scary monsters." And then the monsters, like, they get, like, really sad, and they, like, walk away. And it's like, I low-key kind of felt bad for them as a kid. It's like, come on, they just wanted to help. They're just misunderstood. Sure, they like eat people, but like they're misunderstood. Anyways, they make it to the other side and they're like, they still don't have a car. So they're just like walking and walking and walking and blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, Scarlett Johansson is back at the Krusty Krab and she's trying to distract King Neptune from just fucking pulverizing not pulverizing himself. Jesus Christ. Trying to distract King Neptune from just absolutely pulverizing Mr. Krabs. He wants to kill this man, okay? He is getting impatient, but Scarlett Johansson's like, no, 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 Dad, you can't do this. You gotta give them more time. Meanwhile, everybody else is getting like mind controlled and stuff like that. And it's like this big thing. And Bikini Bottom's in ruin because of plankton. And it's like a big, big, big thing. So it cuts back to SpongeBob and Patrick, and eventually they get a run-in with Dennis, I believe. And Dennis like tries to like kill them, but something stops him from doing so. I don't know if he like gets like chased off by somebody, or like SpongeBob and Patrick escape, or something happens, but Dennis eventually catches up to SpongeBob and SquarePants. Oh my god. SpongeBob and Patrick, can you tell this is all off the dome? I've made so many mistakes. I'm probably going to cut most of them out, but I have made so many mistakes. But anyways, Dennis loses track of SpongeBob and Patrick somehow, because that's not what ultimately thwarts SpongeBob and Patrick. What ultimately thwarts SpongeBob and Patrick on this journey is a big man in like an underwater suit that like they refer to as a cyclops. And I don't know if this is what scares Dennis away or not. Probably, now that I'm thinking about it. No. I remember it now. The big cyclops, who's just a man in an underwater scuba suit, steps on Dennis and foils him. But he also kidnaps SpongeBob and Patrick and like takes them away. They're like screaming. They're like, and they're like trying not to like die, but the camera fades to black. Next time we see SpongeBob and Patrick, they're under a light, like they're in heaven or something, and they're just, hold on, I need to stop slouching. Oh my gosh, how long have I been doing that? Promise you won't say anything about it in the comments. I'm looking at you specifically. You will say nothing about my posture. Okay, I'm a gamer. I can't help it. Anyways, Plankton's whole plot is still going on with like the all hail Plankton stuff like that. Meanwhile, SpongeBob and Patrick are under this like heat lamp of sorts, and they look around. It's basically like they're in like a morgue, right? There's like dried up sea creatures all around them. Like they're on display. They're in a shop, it turns out, and this shop sells a bunch of like marine like gift shop souvenirs and shit. SpongeBob and Patrick are being sold as one of those, and they're under a heat lamp, and they're gradually drying up more and more. Because they're out of water, and like they can't breathe out of water. It's like they're being drowned essentially, but like the sea animal equivalent. But eventually they're like, oh my god, we didn't do it, we're still just a bunch of stupid kids. And then they look and they see the sign for the store. It says Shell City. Shell City is the souvenir store that they are being sold at. And they also look and see King Neptune's crown right there on display as well. It turns out Plankton sold the crown to the big like scuba suit dude, and he's putting it on display in the Shell City souvenir shop. They're like, oh my god, we made it to Shell City. We found the crown. We're all ready for a couple kids. And then they start singing the song, the Goofy Goober song, and it's like super sweet, but they're like dying. They eventually like shrivel up, but SpongeBob and Patrick are crying, and like their teardrops, like they trickle down onto the board they're displayed on, and it forms a heart. It's really adorable. The teardrop heart, as SpongeBob and Patrick are like basically dying, the teardrop heart drips down off of the display into an outlet, which short circuits the lamp, and everything shuts off. And then it starts to fire. I think it starts to like smoke or something. But then the sprinklers in the souvenir store start to go off. And then obviously, there's water everywhere. SpongeBob and Patrick are then instantly revived. And meanwhile, the scuba suit dude, he like walks in, he's like, oh my god, what the fuck is happening? And he's like, blah, blah, blah. He's trying to like get control. Meanwhile, SpongeBob and Patrick are trying to escape, and he like grabs them, and it's like this whole big thing. But then everybody else in the souvenir store, all the other aquatic animals that were dead and shriveled up, they come back to life because of the sprinkler water, and they beat the shit out of Scuba Dude. Oh my god, they go like, it's like fucking World Star. Like, oh my god, they are like beating the ever-loving hell out of this dude. It's awesome. But eventually, SpongeBob and Patrick take this. It's like, oh my god, the crown is right there. We need to get this right now. And then they grab the crown. They're like, oh my god, we got the crown. And then they escape the store. Now they have to figure out a way to get back to Bikini Bottom. But they're like, Minnie gave us this like bag of air, blah, blah, blah. I totally forgot this plot point, by the way. Scarlett Johansson gave them like a bag of air that was supposed to get them back to Bikini Bottom. I forgot when she gave it to them, but she gave it to them. I think it was Mindy that gave it to them. I can't remember. But Patrick, like the dum-dum he is, he completely wastes it because he was trying to read the instructions that were provided. Or maybe it was SpongeBob. I can't remember. And they don't have a way of getting back now. Basically, they're stranded on the beach next to Shell City, and it seems hopeless. The timer for Mr. Krabs' frying is about to go off. It's like so it's tragic. Everybody's crying. SpongeBob and Patrick are like defeated. But then, ladies, gentlemen, and all other famous surfboarder, David fucking Hasselhoff walks into the frame. And this is back when he was like young and stuff. So he's like rippling biceps and like abs, and he's like super like big and handsome. He's like running like a lifeguard towards SpongeBob and Patrick. He eventually sees SpongeBob and Patrick. He's like, what's wrong, guys? And SpongeBob and Patrick are like, we can't get back to Bikini Bottom. And Hasselhoff's like, I can take you there. He's like the big hero that saves the day. So eventually he's like, just ride me and I'll take you to Bikini Bottom. And it's so campy and corny. Objectively, it's kind of like, this is stupid, but like, it's the SpongeBob movie. Of course it's stupid. It's awesome in a stupid way. It's stupid in an awesome way, if you will. But anyways, SpongeBob and Patrick ride David Hasselhoff while he is just speeding towards Bikini Bottom, like on the surface, obviously, because he can't breathe underwater. But then somehow, some way, I can't remember how, Dennis, the villain from earlier, made his way onto the Hasselhoff and is trying to kill SpongeBob and Patrick, and he is pissed by how he got taken down by that scuba dude. If that's what happened, I can't remember. I'll probably make another video of me fact checking myself, seeing how much I got wrong, but he is pissed. He's like, you guys ruined my life and blah, 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 blah. But he tries to kill SpongeBob and Patrick, and he's like trying to like beat them up, and like he eventually like punches David Hasselhoff, or like sinks spikes into him, and David Hasselhoff's like, ooh, take it easy back there. It's like a tickle to him because he's like a human, and it's like funny. But eventually, I forget how, but I think David Hasselhoff goes like underneath like a deck of some sorts, and Dennis forgets to duck, and he's knocked off the Hasselhoff. Sorry, my cat's looking out the window. I think that's what happened. 70% sure that's what happened. Sorry, I need to readjust my hat. Dennis is knocked off. Dennis is like presumed dead. That Dennis fucking dies. And it's awesome. But then the timer keeps ticking down, and then SpongeBob and Patrick are like, oh my god, we're not gonna make it. Blah, 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 blah. And then David Hasselhoff's like, don't worry, I'll put you in between my biceps and shoot you down to Bikini Bottom with the crown, which is weird, but whatever. So he puts SpongeBob and Patrick in between his titties, and then they shift in like this like really weird way. It's ridiculous. But he like squeezes them so tight that they go flying down towards Bikini Bottom with the crown. And just in the nick of time, they get King Neptune's crown back to him, and it's awesome. It's sick. It's so awesome. Plankton was preparing for SpongeBob and Patrick not to come back. He was like, he had popcorn. He was like, oh my god, he's gonna kill fucking Mr. Krabs. He eventually just like goes Hail Mary and puts the mind control onto King Neptune and Scarlett Johansson. But then SpongeBob uses the power of youth to break the curse, and it's like the most iconic scene in the entire movie. He like makes this speech right when King Neptune is about to kill Mr. Krabs. He's like, and I went to Shell City, and I rode the Hasselhoff, and I returned the crown, and I'm still a kid, and blah, 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 blah. Plankton's fucking panicking. He's like, oh my god, what is this kid doing? And then in the heat of his passion and his song, not his song, not yet at least, I just spoiled it. Damn it! Oh my god, I'm so bad at this. In the heat of his passion, SpongeBob, he's like, I'm not a loser, I'm not a blah, 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 blah. I think he uses a slur, actually. I'm not gonna say it, obviously, but 2004, everybody. And he's actually like, he's like powering up. He's like charging up his ultimate or whatever. And then Plankton's like, what the scallop? And then the big song starts. A parody of Twisted Sisters' We Wanna Rock. I think that's what it's called. Hold on. I actually am gonna fact check this because I wanna be sure. I'm curious. It's not We're Not Gonna Take It. I Wanna Rock. Yes, it's I Wanna Rock. It's I Wanna Rock. It's a parody of I Wanna Rock, but it's called Goofy Goober Rock. And I don't know if it's sung by the people from Twisted Sister. I don't know what it is, but SpongeBob breaks out into song and he like starts doing this like badass thing. He's like, I'm a goofy goober, rock. And like a big like music video starts and it's like this big thing. Like he starts to like, you know, get everybody pumped up even though they're still wearing the helmet. And then like eventually he like dons this like wizard costume, like this goofy goober themed wizard costume, but like he's powerful, but he's still a kid. He's using the power of his imagination to break everybody out of the curse, and that's eventually what he does. He like zaps open the people's buckets and stuff like that, and they like eventually become normal again, and Plankton's plan is getting soiled just right there and then. And it's like this big guitar solo, and SpongeBob's like, no, 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 and Plankton's like, no, and then everybody else is like, yeah, and like he eventually zaps King Neptune, and he gets his crown back, and then I think Mr. Krabs is saved from his ice. I don't know. That may happen later, actually. But then the song finishes, and then I think King Neptune's like, I have my crown back, and then Scarlett Johansson's like, aren't you forgetting something? And then Mr. Krabs is like pleading in his little ice cube to be left free. And then King Neptune's like, oh yeah, sure. And then he snaps his finger and then Mr. Krabs is left free. And then the day is saved. And I completely forgot to mention the fucking stalling bit between Mindy and King Neptune. God, how did I forget that? Like the best bit in the entire movie, but whatever. It's too late now. But anyways, everything happens and it's awesome and it's super, super cool. And then Mr. Krabs eventually appoints SpongeBob as the manager of Krusty Krab 2, which is great. This is SpongeBob's end goal. And then he's like, I learned a really important lesson today, or like, I have something really important to say. And then Squidward's like, you realize that being a kid isn't all that bad, and you realize like a title isn't everything, blah, blah, blah. It's like what he should be taking away from the experience, SpongeBob that is. But then SpongeBob is like, he does like the comical thing. He's like, are you kidding? I was just gonna tell you your fly is down. And then he like points down at Squidward's crotch, and it's funny. And he's like, this is the greatest day of my life. Then he jumps up, movie ends, freeze frame, Ocean Man by Ween starts playing, credits start rolling, and that, ladies and gentlemen and all others, is the SpongeBob Squarepants movie 2004. I did it. It only took me like an hour. I think I got like so much shit wrong, probably. I probably got a lot of shit wrong. I probably jumbled a lot of the events, but that is what I remember from the movie. Also, Plankton gets arrested. I forgot to mention that, but that's the movie. That's SpongeBob Squarepants movie 2004. And that's what I remember from it. I will probably watch this movie in a couple of days after this video comes out to kind of like fact check myself, because I think that would be a fun video to do as well. If this video does well, I'll absolutely do that. And I could do more stuff like this, just like recapping shit from memory. Because I thought this was really fun and entertaining. So hopefully you guys think so as well. Anyways, yeah, this is my first video on this channel. I hope you guys enjoy it. Please like and subscribe if you did. I would really, really appreciate that. Get this channel off the ground. I'm trying something new other than my gaming content, because I think that stuff's gotten stale, but whatever. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this does well, but even if it doesn't, thank you for being here. And yeah, that was the SpongeBob movie recapped by me, completely by memory, probably very poorly. Hope you enjoyed. Have a good day /night/afternoon/something. I don't know. I'm ending it. Bye.